Good morning and welcome to our Child of the Week Assembly. I've got a special book I want to read to you this morning. It's one that I've just bought. It seems a very bright day today and I'm not sure whether the pictures are going to show up really well, but I hope it does work. But before we begin, let's do our liturgy. In the beginning, when God created all things, he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Let your light shine. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. Let your light shine. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Let your light shine." So I was telling you about a new book that I bought. It's one I wanted to share with you because it's called Here We Are. It's by somebody called Oliver Jeffers. Here We Are, Notes for Living on Planet Earth. And Oliver Jeffers loves learning about our planet because he says the more you know, the more you know that you don't know. Let's say that again. The more you know, the more you know you don't know. And that's very true about living on our planet. And I just wanted to read it because it's a beautiful book and it will help us to know something more, hopefully, about our planet. He wrote it when he had a baby boy and his little son was only 2 months old, and he wanted to introduce him to the lovely world in which we live. I'll try and make sure you can see the pictures. So this is our solar system. See the big bright sun that's shining today. And here we are on planet Earth, in the middle of our solar system with other planets around. You might be able to name some of those planets and tell your teacher. Well, hello and welcome to this planet. We call it Earth. It's a big globe floating in space on which we live. We're glad you found us in space because it's very big. There's us. That's the moon. But look at this great big space here. There's so much to do and to see on Earth. Let's get started for a very quick tour. The planet is basically made up of two parts: the land, rock and dirt, and the sea, water. Firstly, let's talk about the land. It's what we're standing on right now. We know lots about the land. It's cold. It's pointy. Some parts are really hot. There's a volcano here. The hills are bumpy. The desert, it's dry and it's hot. But there's swamps where it's wet and fields where it's flat. So many differences. And then there's the sea. The sea is full of wonderful things. You see some of the fish, the octopus, squid, whale, sharks. We know a little bit about the sea, but we'll talk more about it once you've learnt to swim. It says here, it goes nearly 7 miles deep. I wonder if you knew that. There's also the sky, but it can get pretty complicated. Let's see what there is here. There's the sun. We spin around the sun. And the moon spins around us. Sometimes the sky is blue. Sometimes it's not. There's wind, which is air that moves. There's snow, which is frozen water. Rainbows, rain that falls as water, and clouds that are floating water. Storm clouds and lightning. There's stars and constellations, which are patterns made by stars. And the Milky Way, which is really billions of other stars and planets that looks all milky. And then, of course, there's the other planets. So much in our world. On our planet, there are people. One people is called a person. You are a person and you have a body. Let's have a little look at the body. The head, the brain for thinking, arms, a heart to pump your blood, a belly for you to eat, lungs for breathing the air, legs and bones that hold it all together. Look after it. Most of the bits don't grow back. The most important thing for people to do is to remember to eat, to drink, and to stay warm. People come in many different sizes, shapes, and colours. We may all look very different. We may act different and sound different. But don't be fooled. We're all people. I wonder what sort of people you can see there in that picture. I'll try and hold it up. And your teacher might just pause so you can see all the different types of people that there are in the world. There are animals too, and they come in even more shapes, sizes and colours. They can't speak, but that's not a reason not to be nice to them. Look, I wonder if you can see all of those animals as well. Which ones you recognise? He writes to his little boy, "You may not be able to speak either yet, even though your head is full of questions. But be patient, you'll soon learn how to use words. And then you'll be able to ask all the questions that you want." Generally, how it works is that when the sun's out, it's daytime and we do stuff. The rest of the time is night when it's dark, save for the moon, and we sleep. Things can move pretty slowly on Earth. That looks like a wonderful day when people are just, maybe it's a hot day, resting under the tree. We've got butterflies and bees, the cows chewing the grass. People are being very slow that day. But more often though, they move very fast. So use your time well. It'll be gone before you know it. It's a much busier picture, isn't it, of things happening and things moving fast. Though we've come a long way, we haven't quite worked out everything yet. So there's plenty left for you to do. You'll figure out lots of things for yourself. But remember, to leave notes for everyone else. It looks big, this Earth, but there's lots of us on here. Gosh, that's a really big number. 7,327,450,667 and counting. So be kind. There's enough for everyone. Well, that's planet Earth. Make sure you look after it, as it's all we've got. Now, if you need to know anything else, just ask. I won't be far away. And when I'm not around, you can always ask someone else. You're never alone on Earth. Maybe that book is in our library and your teacher could get it out and show you the pictures, because they really are beautiful, and it's a little bit difficult in my study with the light coming through to show you. But it is a beautiful book. Remember the part where it said, make sure you look after it, as it's all you've got. I wonder how you feel about our planet. Does it wow you? Well, the title of our assembly today is Sustainable Development. It means as we continue to live on our planet, we won't damage it in the process. Let me show you again our assembly. I like these pictures because it shows someone holding our planet. We couldn't do that, but it shows that need to care. And this one, remember, there's no planet B. It's really important that we look after our planet. Our attitude is really important, because if we believe that our actions can affect our planet for good or bad, and if we really want to improve things for the Earth, that will be seen in what we do. If you're in Key Stage 1, you may want to stop here and just have a talk with your teacher about how you can help planet Earth. And then maybe skip the rest until you get to the Child of the Week assembly celebration at the very end. But for those of you in Key Stage 2, we're going to consider different attitudes that people have about looking after our world. I want us to think for each one, if I had this attitude, would I want to look after the planet or not? Maybe your teacher could record on the whiteboard a yes or no for the different attitudes, and you could come back and discuss this later. So maybe bye-bye to everybody in Key Stage 1, but we'll carry on in Key Stage 2. So we've got different attitudes towards the planet, 8 different ones, and maybe you can get somebody to read this out from your class, 8 different people. First one is about the owner. Somebody who treats planet Earth as if they own it. So maybe the first reader could read this. I wonder, does that person want to look after our planet or not? And the second person believes that money's really important. Somebody else read this out. Perhaps pause the video as you do so. I wonder which column you put this in. Does this person want to look after our planet? Yes, or maybe not. The third attitude sees the planet as our home. We'll have another reader now read this out, and you decide as a class, if I had this attitude, would I want to look after our planet or not? The fourth attitude sees that we're dependent on our planet. Can somebody read this out? Again, you might need to stop the video. So which column does this one go in? A person who would want to look after the planet or not? This one's interesting. It says alive. We want to stay alive. What does this person, what's their attitude? And this person has a managing attitude. They have a role. Read this one out and decide which column. These are all attitudes that maybe your teachers will explore with you later on, either today or following on from other people's assemblies. I'm not sure whether people are going to use this, but the assemblies for the week are looking at these different roles and considering whether it's a good attitude to have or not. Conquerors. It's a very strange attitude that we conquer our earth so that it works for us. I think this is the last attitude, where we're equal partners. I wonder where you'd put that. So those are all different attitudes that I want you to think, maybe consider together with your teacher. And think a bit about how you can help to look after our planet. What can your attitude be? And how will that affect your behaviour? So attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. It's about walking your talk and doing and living out what you believe. Just have a time of reflection and think, which of those attitudes will lead people to help our planet? And which attitudes would lead people to damage the earth? Do you agree with any of the attitudes? They resonate with you? And what about your attitude? You need to change that before you can help to protect our world. Remember that book, Here We Are. What can you do to make sure you look after it? It's all we've got. Let's bow our heads and just say a prayer together. Dear God, we're aware that our attitudes affect the way that we behave. Help us to have the right attitude as we think about sustainable development, an attitude that will help us to make right choices, choices that will help to protect and ensure the resources of the earth continue for generations to come. Amen. So, Child of the Week for the week before our half term. Miss Berman has chosen Eleanor and Miss Marsden chose Isabella. Well done to both of you. Moving into year 2, James is Child of the Week for Miss Franklin And Joan is the new Child of the Week for Mrs. Thomas and Mrs. Walker. I think, Joan, you've just joined us, so welcome to Winslow, and congratulations for being Child of the Week already. In Year 3, Leo is the Child of the Week for Miss Jakes and Miss Paul, and Ivy has been chosen by Miss Crofts. In Year 4, Mr. Fev has chosen Jalen, and Zach is the Child of the Week for Mr. Wright. In Year 5, we've got 2 Children of the Week chosen by Mrs. O'Donoghue, Jamie and Alfie, and Ethan has been chosen by Mr. Boyer. In Year 6, Miss Epps and Miss Greenhill have chosen Thomas, and Amelia is the Child of the Week for Mr. Niall. Well done to each one of you. And so we start our end of year, our last summer term. I hope it's going to be a really lovely one, not just in weather, but in all the fun things that we can do together. Hopefully some of the restrictions will be lifted and we'll be able to have a really good time. And I do hope that I may be able to come back into school just for the last few weeks to say hello to all of you and to rejoin our school community. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But I hope you have a really good week. And so we end our assembly by saying together, go in the light and peace of Jesus. In the name of Christ. Amen.